Behind the iron gates of Darrington House in Essex lies a world that feels lifted straight from a Jane Austen novel. A sprawling 18th century estate worth over $6 million, it now serves as the quiet retreat of one of rock's most enduring legends. But how did a scrappy boy from Highgate, London, swap the noise of cobblestone streets for manicured lawns, rose gardens, and a historic clock tower? Tonight, we step inside Rod Stewart's life of mansions, luxury cars, vast fortune, and a legacy that continues to dazzle. Before the millions, before the mansions, before the raspy voice echoed through arenas across the world, there was a little boy named Roderick David Stewart, born on January 10, 1945, in a modest flat above a newspaper shop in Highgate, North London. Not in a hospital, not with any fanfare, just a quiet birth in a working-class home, while the last shadows of World War II still lingered in the air. He was the youngest of 5 children. The only one born in England, his siblings were all Scottish. His father, Robert Stewart, was a tough, no-nonsense Scotsman who once worked as a master builder. His mother, Elsie, was English, grounded and loving. Together, they ran a tiny shop on Archway Road and lived in the cramped space above it. There wasn't much money, but there was music, there was football, and there was love. Rod called his childhood gloriously happy. He was doted on endlessly, especially being 8 years younger than his closest sibling. His days were filled with model train sets, family sing-alongs, and dreams. But not the kind of dreams you might expect. Football, not fame, was his first obsession. His father played. His brothers played. The walls were covered with black and white photos of Scottish legends like George Young and Gordon Smith. And Rod? He was good, really good. He captained his school team. He earned a spot on the Middlesex schoolboys squad, a place reserved for the most promising young talent. At 15, he thought he knew exactly who he'd become. A professional footballer. He even had a shot. A trial with Brentford Football Club, a real chance. But the call never came. The contract never landed. And just like that, his football dream faded. Was he crushed? Maybe. But the universe was already tuning another frequency. Between weekend matches and evenings at home, Rod had been absorbing something else. Music. Not just any music. The wild, electrifying sound of Little Richard. The swagger of Bill Haley and his Comets. The soul of Sam Cooke. One Christmas, his father gave him a guitar. Rod strummed out, "It takes a worried man to sing a worried song." Then came the first record he ever bought. Come On Everybody by Eddie Cochran. And just like that, football took a back seat. He started a skiffle group with his schoolmates, Cool Cats, covering Lonnie Donegan hits and pretending they were stars. Still, music felt like a hobby, not a path. Not yet. Then came 1962. Rod, harmonica in pocket, hit the road with folk singer Whiz Jones. They busked across England and Europe, Brighton, Paris, Barcelona, sleeping on floors, performing on corners, living off pocket change and adrenaline. It was dirty, uncertain, romantic. And it was his true beginning. He didn't just learn how to sing, he learned how to perform, how to hold a crowd, how to live like an artist. And people started noticing. In 1963, he joined the Dimensions, his first real band gig, just harmonica and backup vocals. But that voice, that unmistakable rasp, it was inching toward the spotlight. By 1966, he joined the Jeff Beck Group. And suddenly, Rod wasn't just some London kid. He was on tour. He was on records. He was leading songs. Then came 1969. He joined Faces, the rowdiest rock band this side of the Stones, all while launching a solo career on the side. And then, everything exploded. Maggie May, Reason to Believe. In 1971, his album Every Picture Tells a Story hit #1 in both the UK and the US. His voice was everywhere. On radios, on record players, on stages across the world. He wasn't a footballer. He was something even better. A rock star. And the best part? Rod Stewart was only just getting started. From smoky pubs in London to stadiums filled with tens of thousands. From a harmonica on the streets of Paris to hit records played in every corner of the world. Rod Stewart's rise wasn't just about fame. It was about transformation. The scrappy football kid became a global icon. The street performer became a knight. And with success came choices. Not just about music, but about where and how to live. So where does a man like Rod Stewart go when he wants more than just luxury? When he wants legacy? When he wants something timeless? The answer lies behind wrought iron gates, deep in the heart of the English countryside. Welcome to Darrington House. Darrington House, Essex. At first glance, it could be mistaken for a country estate pulled straight from a BBC period drama. But make no mistake, this is Rod Stewart's Darrington House, and it's very real. Tucked away in the lush countryside of Essex, this $6.2 million mansion is more than just a home. It's a personal sanctuary, a royal retreat, a time capsule where the glamour of old England meets the heart of a rock legend. Spanning 20 private acres, the property begins with a long, tree-lined drive. Silence greets you, broken only by birdsong and the whisper of breeze through the hedges. Then, like a dream from another era, the manor comes into view. Majestic, elegant, utterly timeless. Built in the 18th century, the house stands proud in aged brick and ivy. Its windows, tall and classic, reflect the soft English sunlight. Its silhouette whispers history. And the soul of the place? It whispers something else. That this is where Rod Stewart slows down. Step inside. The foyer greets you with high ceilings, vintage chandeliers and wood flooring that creaks softly underfoot. It's not flashy. It's not trying to impress. It simply is. The 10 bedrooms and 5 full bathrooms are preserved with loving detail, original fireplaces, carved moldings, antique hardware. The palette? Soft creams, olive greens, dusty golds, tones that calm, not overwhelm. In the 4 reception rooms, you can almost picture Rod sitting by candlelight, a record playing low, a glass of Bordeaux in hand. These spaces don't scream celebrity. They breathe old-world warmth. And yes, the house has stories. Like the 18th century clock tower, still ticking atop the coach house. A feature so rare, it could belong to a royal estate. Or the greenhouse and orchard, which Rod uses to grow fruits and flowers. An echo of a simpler life. Down in the wine cellar, humidity controlled and discreet, bottles from every vintage line the walls, some for guests, some for celebrations, some just for the quiet joy of having them. But Darrington House isn't just about architecture. It's about pace, about rhythm, about stepping back from the roar of fame. Outside, a croquet lawn rests beside the rose garden, both lovingly tended. A tennis court offers the occasional match, while stone paths lead to hidden nooks beneath ancient trees. This isn't Beverly Hills. There's no paparazzi, no velvet ropes, just air, green, and stillness. Rod doesn't just live here. He reconnects here, to himself, to his British roots, to the kind of life that doesn't need to be loud to be luxurious. It's also strategically placed. Just a short drive from central London, it offers him the best of both worlds, privacy and proximity. And the decor? Nothing manufactured. Each curtain, chair, and fixture feels curated. Not by designers chasing trends, but by a man who's seen the world and now craves authenticity. This is the other side of Rod Stewart, not the glittering showman in leopard print, but the quiet collector of time, taste, and peace. A knight of the realm, living in a house that suits his title. And perhaps, most telling of all, there are no gold records on the walls, no stage lights, no signs of spectacle. Just space and story. This is where Rod Stewart retreats. This is his England. And for those lucky enough to step inside, even just for a moment, it feels like stepping into a parallel life, one where fame fades and elegance remains. But as peaceful as Essex may be, Rod Stewart isn't a man of just one world. Because when the curtain falls on the English countryside and the sun rises over Los Angeles, he trades rose gardens for Roman columns and croquet lawns for sweeping Hollywood views. You see, for all his love of heritage and quiet retreat, Rod still knows how to turn up the volume. And in Beverly Park, he owns a mansion that doesn't just speak luxury, it shouts it. Mansion in Beverly Park. If Darrington House is where Rod Stewart remembers who he was, then Beverly Park is where he reminds the world who he became. Because in the hills of Los Angeles, behind gilded gates and sweeping drives, sits a mansion that even royalty would call over the top. This isn't just a house, it's a statement. Back in 1991, Rod saw this sprawling hillside property and wrote a $12.1 million check. A bold move even by Hollywood standards. Fast forward to today, and that same estate is estimated at a jaw-dropping $80 million. The moment you arrive, the scale takes your breath away. This isn't California cool. This is European drama, transplanted into the golden light of Beverly Hills. Designed by legendary architect Richard Landry, nicknamed the King of the Mega Mansion, this home blends English countryside charm with the decadence of Versailles. Step through the grand entrance, and time almost slows down. Towering Corinthian columns frame a palatial hallway. The floors? Classic chevron-patterned hardwood, waxed to perfection. The ceilings? Intricately carved, kissed with gold leaf. Every room feels like a film set. Not minimalist, not modern, but rich, layered, lived in luxury. There are 9 bedrooms and 12 bathrooms, each one dressed like a magazine spread. Velvet drapes, antique mirrors, crystal chandeliers. And yet there's warmth here. It's theatrical, yes, but not cold. Because Rod didn't build this just to impress. He built it to enjoy. Beneath the house, hidden away like a secret, is a marble-lined pub, perfect for quiet drinks or wild laughter among friends. There's a serene tea room with floral wallpapers and soft afternoon light, a little slice of England in the middle of LA. And for balance, not 1, but 2 private gyms, because even rock legends need to sweat. Then there's the formal dining hall, where chandeliers hang like jewelry above a table fit for diplomats. And if guests drop by, there's a 4,500 square foot guest house waiting. Yes, just for visitors. But the real magic happens outside. Step into the garden, and it feels like a private resort. 3 acres of manicured perfection. Sculptures hidden behind rose hedges. Wisteria-draped trellises leading to quiet corners under cypress trees. A resort-style pool shimmers like sapphire under the sun. A bubbling spa nearby whispers relaxation. And tucked into one corner, a private football pitch, a nod to the boy who once dreamed of playing for Brentford. But nothing sets the tone like the tree-lined driveway, winding, dramatic, elegant. As you ride up through it, the chaos of Los Angeles disappears. All that remains is calm, and the unmistakable feeling of success. Rod doesn't just own this house, he shaped it. Room by room, detail by detail, memory by memory. Because even after decades in the spotlight, he still knows how to make an entrance. And this mansion, It makes one for him, every single day. But Rod Stewart's lifestyle isn't confined to bricks, chandeliers, and sweeping lawns, because once you step past the silk drapes and marble floors, you'll hear something else. The low, thunderous growl of a V12, the gleam of polished chrome beneath museum lighting, and that unmistakable scent, leather, oil, and horsepower. Because in Rod's world, the drive matters just as much as the destination. And his garage? It's not just a storage space. It's a cathedral of speed. Let's open the doors and meet the machines that move the man. Cars. Step into Rod Stewart's garage, and you're not just walking past metal and rubber. You're entering a shrine. A gallery of speed, design, and outrageous personality. Because for Rod, cars aren't just transportation. They're companions. Each one tells a story. Each one roars with character. Ferrari 488 Pista. This one doesn't purr. It screams. With a twin-turbo V8 engine delivering 710 horsepower, Rod's Ferrari 488 Pista goes from 0 to 60 mph in under 3 seconds. But what drew him to this car isn't just the specs. It's the drama, the aerodynamic curves, the track-focused build, the way it hugs a winding canyon road like it was born to race. This isn't a car for someone trying to be subtle. It's a car for someone who's already been heard and wants to be felt. Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano. Named after Ferrari's legendary Fiorano test track, this grand tourer is all about power wrapped in elegance. Under the hood, a V12 engine borrowed from the Ferrari Enzo. Output? 612 horsepower of hand-built Italian thunder. But look closer. It's not loud like the Pista. It's refined, understated. The car of a man who knows he doesn't need to show off, but still wants to feel every second of the drive. Ferrari LaFerrari. Only 499 of these were ever made. Rod has one. Because of course he does. A hybrid hypercar with a total output of 950 horsepower, the LaFerrari is part spaceship, part artwork. With its sculpted carbon fiber body and Formula One-inspired cockpit, it's not just fast, it's furious. This is the crown jewel of Rod's collection. Not just because of its rarity, but because it represents everything he's become. Rare, elite, and impossible to replicate. Lamborghini Aventador. If the Ferraris are sharp suits, this is a leather jacket with studs. The Aventador is bold, brash, and unapologetic. A V12 beast that turns heads before it even moves. With its scissor doors, low-slung profile, and sound that could start an earthquake, this car is pure excess. And Rod? He loves it for that. For the feeling of stepping out of it at a red carpet. For the look it puts on people's faces. It's not a daily driver. It's a rock star entrance on wheels. Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. Sometimes, though, Rod wants the wind in his hair. Enter the Gallardo Spider. A convertible with a naturally aspirated V10 that sings like a stage anthem. It's fast, yes, but also smooth, effortless. The kind of car you take out on a sunny afternoon in Malibu, with the top down and your own greatest hits playing through the speakers. Rod doesn't just drive this one, he enjoys it, like a Sunday with no schedule. Rolls-Royce Phantom 8. And then, there's the throne. Because every king needs one. The Phantom 8 isn't about speed, it's about presence. With its whisper-quiet V12 engine, handcrafted interior, and a cabin that feels more like a private lounge than a vehicle, this car is all about stillness. The kind of stillness that commands attention. Not by screaming, but by showing up in absolute silence, and still stealing the moment. Rod is often chauffeured in this one. Leaning back, sunglasses on, champagne in hand, living the life he earned, mile by silky mile. So which ride is your favorite? The screaming Ferrari, the royal rolls, the outrageous Lambo? For Rod Stewart, they're more than machines. They're reflections of power, of performance, of personality. And just like his music, each one leaves a lasting impression. These cars don't just run on fuel. They run on fortune, on years of chart-topping albums, sold-out tours, and savvy decisions made behind the scenes. Because Rod Stewart doesn't just spend money, he earns it. And he's been doing it longer than most careers even last. So how did this raspy-voiced rebel build a $300 million empire that fuels every Ferrari, every estate, and every quiet luxury in between? Let's trace the road back to where the money began and how it keeps rolling in. $300 million. That's not a rumor. That's Rod Stewart's estimated net worth as of 2025. But how did he build it? How does a boy from a flat above a newspaper shop go on to afford 2 mansions, a hypercar fleet, and the luxury of disappearing when he feels like it? It all began with a voice. Not just any voice, but one that cut through radios, cracked with emotion, and somehow made heartbreak sound glorious. His breakthrough in the early 70s, albums like Every Picture Tells a Story, Never a Dull Moment, and Atlantic Crossing, sold millions of copies worldwide, and the hits never really stopped. Maggie May, Tonight's the Night, Forever Young, Sailing. Each one a paycheck, each one a building block in his empire. Then came the tours. From London to Las Vegas, Rod filled stadiums, often grossing tens of millions per tour. In 2011, he locked in a Las Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace, a gold mine for any artist. It wasn't just about performing, it was about ownership. A structured deal with guaranteed millions, lower overhead, and global visibility. But Rod didn't rely solely on singing. He invested. He bought real estate early, like his Beverly Park mansion in 1991 for $12.1 million, now worth an estimated $80 million. He earned royalties not just from his own music, but from features, compilations, and global licensing deals. Then came his reinvention, the Great American Songbook series. Rod dove into jazz standards, and it paid off big time. Multiple platinum albums, a Grammy, and a whole new audience. Each chapter of his career added another stream of income. Not overnight, not flashy, but sustainable. And with that wealth came a lifestyle not built to impress others, but to reward the man who made it all happen. But here's the thing about Rod Stewart. He didn't let the wealth change who he was. He let it amplify the parts that mattered most. Because beyond the headlines, the platinum records, and the million-dollar garages, Rod never forgot where he came from. And when life threw him its toughest battles, he didn't just survive. He gave back, louder than ever, with purpose. Let's step into the side of Rod Stewart the spotlight rarely shows. The side that gives, quietly and powerfully. Philanthropy. In May 2000, Rod Stewart faced something even fame couldn't shield him from. Thyroid cancer. The diagnosis shook him, not just because it was life-threatening, but because it threatened the one thing that defined him, his voice. The surgery went well, but Rod had to relearn how to sing, note by note, breath by breath. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a rebirth. And from that pain, something shifted. Rod didn't just return to the stage, he stepped into something deeper, a quiet commitment to give back. He began supporting the City of Hope Foundation, a California-based organization focused on cancer research and pediatric care. Not with a press tour, not with a publicity campaign, but with action. Because when you've stared mortality in the face, you learn what truly matters. But life wasn't done testing him. In 2017, Rod was diagnosed again, this time with prostate cancer. He kept it private for 2 years. No headlines, no interviews. Then in 2019, after making a full recovery, he finally shared the news. Not for sympathy, but to raise awareness. He stood in front of a charity audience and said, "Guys, You've got to go to the doctor. Don't be afraid. It works. It was vintage Rod, direct, honest, and brave, and the giving didn't stop there. In February 2023, Rod read a heartbreaking news story. Patients at Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow were waiting months, sometimes years, for MRI scans due to NHS backlogs. So he picked up the phone, and he paid for an entire day's worth of scans out of pocket. Hundreds of patients were seen, wait lists cleared, no red tape. Just one man using his money to move mountains. He told the press simply, "If this is a big success, I'd like to do it in other hospitals as well." No press agent, no entourage, just Rod doing what felt right. This is the part of his story that few see. The rock star, the survivor, the quiet philanthropist. He doesn't chase headlines, he doesn't wear his generosity like jewelry. But behind the cars, the mansions, and the platinum plaques, beats a heart that still remembers what it means to struggle. A man who built his life on second chances, and now gives them to others. You might think a man with a legacy like Rod Stewart lives in constant spotlight, but the truth is, when the music fades, he cherishes the quiet, personal life. Rod Stewart, now 79, is not just a rock star. He's a father, a husband, a man who still watches football on Sundays and spends hours tinkering with model trains. Yes, model trains. In fact, he's been building his own intricate miniature railways for decades, not just for fun, but as a true passion. His layouts have been featured in magazines, each one carefully constructed with rolling hills, street lamps, and hand-painted details. This is where Rod finds calm. This is where he loses time. Not on stage, but at home, surrounded by silence and scenery he built himself. But family is never far. Rod is the father of 8 children, from 5 different relationships. And yes, like any family, it's been complicated. In 2002, his son Sean faced legal trouble after a violent altercation in Los Angeles. It made headlines, it raised questions, but Rod never turned his back. He stood by his children, flaws and all, teaching, guiding, forgiving. Today, his home is often filled with laughter and music, as grandchildren run down the same hallways once lit by paparazzi flashes. And his marriage? Strong. Since 2007, he's been happily married to Penny Lancaster, a model-turned-photographer-turned-police volunteer. She's been a rock through his battles with cancer, and a partner in his journey towards something deeper than fame: legacy. Together, they split their time between Beverly Park and Darrington House. Los Angeles gives them sun, glitz, and the stage. But Essex, that's where they exhale. Rod's days now are slower, more deliberate. Morning walks through rose gardens, afternoons with his model trains, evenings with family dinners and the occasional glass of red wine. He still records music. He still tours, on his own terms. But he no longer chases the chart. He chases meaning, moments, peace. In 2016, he was officially knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, a moment that brought his journey full circle. From a North London newsagent's son to Sir Roderick David Stewart. He once said, "I may be a rock star, but I'm still a bloke from Archway who got lucky." Maybe so. But it's what he's done with that luck that truly defines him. Rod Stewart didn't just ride the waves of pop culture, he helped shape them. And maybe, just maybe, it's the fact that, after everything, Rod Stewart still feels like someone you could sit with over tea while a train circles a model village nearby. Because behind every mansion, every car, every spotlight, there's a man, a story, and a legacy that keeps playing long after the final note. So now it's your turn. Which part of Rod Stewart's lifestyle surprised you most? The timeless charm of Darrington House? The opulence of his Beverly Hills mega mansion? Or the roar of his Ferrari LaFerrari down a California highway? Tell us in the comments below. And if you want more stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and join us again as we explore the extraordinary lives behind the legends. This was Rod Stewart, and trust us, there's no other quite like him.